Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for the throwbackiest of Throwback Thursdays. It's time, you already know, for Ashita no Joe. I am thrilled and equal parts terrified because this is a legendary show, and that scares me. It's like uncovering a piece of the Parthenon or like some grand civilization. And a piece of this piece in particular feels to me a little bit like being an archaeologist or an anthropologist or maybe even a paleontologist, digging backward through time layer by layer and then sort of having to reverse things and piece them together and see how they emerged layer by layer in history. And I say that because I'm a modern person. I grew up in the 2000s. I started watching anime in today's anime or like yesterday's anime, right? Not last year's anime, not last decade's anime, and certainly not the anime of 50 years ago. But I've moved backward from there, from my starting point. The world has moved forward and I've moved with it, and I've moved backward, exploring piecemeal what previous generations had produced. And it's a strange thing to do. It's a strange process to move backwards, to explore in reverse. It causes all sorts of weird things to happen, like novelty becomes normal, right? The grand innovations of 1985 are the norm and the everyday of 1995. And so the person growing up in 2000, weaned on 1995 era stuff, is going to think the stuff from 1985 is derivative and not that interesting and uses all these things that they've seen before because, of course, they've seen it before. It's been done for the last 10 years. But in 1985, it was incredible, legendary, shocking, novel. I think a good example of this in our modern day is Star Wars. In the Western world, Star Wars, right? Star Wars, you watch them today, and they've got some charm, for sure. There's a lot to love in them, but you've got to put your I'm time traveling goggles on. You've got to put your this is not of this time, and I ought not expect it to be lenses on and peer through those, and then you'll get a different kind of a perspective, but it will be inevitably lost on someone watching that film, having grown up in today's era of film, how much of that film is new. How much of that movie is extraordinary. How much of the special effects that have become so normal were not at all normal. And such is the case with anime. For a long time now, I've been fascinated by the shows of the 80s and 90s. Partly because they're close in proximity to the other shows that I grew up on, and partly because there are certain threads and elements of them that I've found myself over time as I've done this work of digging backward, I've found really deeply compelling. You can go find the Retro Monday Overdrive playlist, which is chock full of trashy action OVAs and glorious mecha stuff and seeking through mostly the 80s and 90s. That's most of what I've looked at. I haven't gone much further beyond. It scares me a little. I'm unfamiliar with it. But the time has come. The time has come. As we continue journeying, it's just impossible to avoid the fundamental truth that anime did not birth itself into the world with the birth of Mobile Suit Gundam. It's not where everything started, right? There is a rich history before that, and a richer history of other mediums before that that are not my purview and not where I'm going. I've got to put up some boundaries around what I want to do. But one thing that I want to do is go back and explore some of the legendary shows of the past and discover in doing so the roots, the rich, old roots of everything we've come to know in the modern day and everything we've come to explore before that, because the layers in our archaeological or paleontological understanding, the layers that we have so far delved into are not the only layers, and they have much to attribute to those that came before. So, as anime scientists, as anime ontologists, whatever the fuck we're gonna call it, we're diving back deeper, and we're sort of doing a little bit of like evolutionary understanding and piecing together how the modern day evolved from what we will experience in the past. It's such a strange thing to me that these shows are existent out of time. It's a fundamental aspect of this medium that we're engaged in. And further than that, a fundamental aspect of the medium that I'm engaged in right now, because my speaking right now is happening temporally to me, and temporarily, and it'll be gone, I'll be done, I'll be going off and having lunch later, and it'll just happen. But you might be here from 50 years in the future, watching some idiot from 50 years ago watch a show from 50 years ago, and that's wild. That's wild. The fact that we can record human experience and share it, weird. The fact that we can record art and share it and it stays the same and we can look at it and like over time and evaluate it with different perspectives, fucking weird. Fascinating. And what it lends itself to, what it creates, is a world where 50 years ago, a man named Osamu Dezaki directed a 79-episode anime that aired on TV, on TVs like these, because this is what TVs looked like in 1970, and some of them wouldn't have been in color, because, well, color TV had been around for a few years. It wasn't entirely ubiquitous. 50 years ago, that dude and a bunch of other people made a thing. And they made a bunch of drawings and they put them together as part of an art form that for 30, 40 years before had been kind of happening. It was broadcast on TV, and for every year, every decade since, people have been inspired by it, or by things related to it, or by things created by people who were inspired by it, to the point that today, this year, I will say this not knowing that it's true, and I will guarantee that it's true with absolute utmost certainty. Complete and utter certainty. I will guarantee you that this year a new anime series will air, probably a 13 episode one cour one-off comedy show, and in it at some point there will be a direct one-to-one scene reference to a show from 50 years ago. And that scene reference will probably be a tragedy played for comedy, and I'll try not to like spoil it in strangeness, but I don't know how you can go without having a legend sort of spoiled for you. There are very few things that I know about Ashita no Joe, and I chose at the beginning of this video, earlier today, or really over the course of the last couple weeks as I've been deciding this, not to go and investigate further, not to go and deep dive, not to go and look into the artists and the creatives and Dezaki and his history and all that stuff, except on the most cursory level, so that I don't make stumble over myself and make myself look like an idiot by saying that it was made in 1950 when it was made in 1970, right? I'm not going to say something stupid as fuck like that, I hope. But I'm also not going to go in and dive deep into what it is exactly. So one of the very few things that I know about Joe is a scene that happens at the very, very end that's colored blue. And you know that scene too because you've seen it half a dozen times, referenced, parodied, and with honor and love too. There's a respect around Joe, the character, and a respect around Joe, the show, that's interesting. It's interesting. It's like the respect that you get. This is weird, but it's like the respect that you get in modern Spanish-speaking populations around Dragon Ball Z. And I mean that seriously. And I don't, maybe you aren't exposed to the same sorts of Spanish speaking populations that I am, but that might as well be the Bible. Man, that's the Bible. That is holy scripture. Right? Ah. But in anime circles, it's like, here is the one that has come before and paved the way so that we may go ourselves, is the vibe, right? There's tongue-in-cheek and silliness to it, right? You get in the same tone as JoJo's references of just characters suddenly lapse into another character for a sec because it's funny, but also because, well, it's more than that. It's because people were touched by this and they want to demonstrate that. It's a way of showing your cred and connecting with the audience who's also touched by it. And there's a recognition that's woven into the deepest substructures of this medium. There are only a few shows that are really like that are referenced so continuously, that are recognizable beyond recognizable, right? Gundam is up there. Evangelion, it's in there. Joe. And in a way, it feels to me, and I don't know if this is true, but it feels to me like if we were to step back decade by decade, we could say that there are shows that have really strongly defined that decade. I think Evangelion is a strong contender for defining the 90s. I think it does a good job. You can argue that there are other ones. Fair. I won't argue that. There certainly are. I would posit that Evangelion is a strong defining feature of the 90s. I'm torn on the 80s because there's so much fucking shit in the 80s, but you could say Gundam is 80s as fuck, and you would be right. We just watched a bunch of Gundam, and it's pretty defining. The 70s, man? It starts with Joe. I don't know if the decade's going to be defined by Joe, but it starts here. I don't know that much about the sociopolitical context of this show, but I know that it spoke strongly to the working population. And I know that it spoke of hope. This is a show that's about boxing. Fighting. And fighting is really interesting. That feels like such a stupid thing to say. It was made in the 50s. It feels like a stupid thing to say. Boxing's really interesting. Fighting's really interesting. Well, it is. It is. And it's really deeply interesting as a mode of storytelling. It's really simple in some way. Two people enter. Two men enter. They beat the shit out of each other. One of them wins. And under that framework, you can battle and fight about anything. One of my favorite things about anime is its capacity to frame in physical combat, in visual altercation, in abstracted conflict, real struggles. And boxing is an interesting one, because when you're boxing, it's so strange because so much of boxing idea comes shortly after this, like 1976 from Rocky, right? And I wonder how much of Rocky's defined by Joe. But when you're boxing, you're not just fighting against the guy across from you in the ring. You're fighting against the world, and you're fighting on a grand stage, right? There are cameras. Boxing's like this sport that's on camera, it's on screen, it's in front of people, it's a spectator sport. It's a money-making sport, too. It's a way for people without anything else to make something of themselves. It's a way through pure viciousness to stand out and to achieve. And there's an aspect of martial combat and martial sports and fighting that is deeply and dramatically human. And it's something that we maintain into the modern day, both as a storytelling method through media like like wrestling, and as a pure entertainment blood sport, and as a hybrid, the strange hybrid that we have in every fighting championship that exists that I know of. People follow their characters, they watch their storylines, they care. And those men and women now who get into the ring and fight are doing it for all sorts of reasons. Some of them are doing it to prove themselves to the world. Some of them are doing it to put food on the table for their family. Some of them are doing it because they don't know what else they could do with their life. People fight for all sorts of reasons. And so the ring becomes something else. It's not just a sand pit covered in blood, or a a a, a plasticky tarp, with ropes around it. It's something else. It's a symbol. It's the arena. It's the place where we fight for our own hearts and minds and for others' hearts and minds. It's something so much more, and so it's a symbolic landscape within which our characters battle over ideas. And I can say this knowing nothing about Joe, because it's anime, because it's media, and because it's smart. But what are we fighting for? Who's Joe? He earns the title of our show. It's not boxing for the future. It's not, boxing today, boxing, the anime. It's Joe. Who's he? And what's he fighting for? And I think I kind of flubbed and said it just a second ago, but I think we're given the answer in the title as well. Who's Joe? Well, he's anybody. That's why he's named Joe, isn't it? What's he fighting for? Tomorrow. Just like you, just like me, just like everyone always. So maybe that hints at why every decade, every year since Ashita no Joe, people have referenced it and been inspired by it and discovered it and been changed by it. And that's why today I'm going to join them. I'm going to pop open episode 1 of this old show that's going to be strange to my modern sensibilities. I'm going to dust the years, the decades off of these strange artifacts of a somewhat alien civilization. Japan of 50 years ago is neither the Japan of now nor much recognizable to the societies of today. And yet it is a place filled with people and therefore inevitably recognizable and inevitably just like today. And the story that we're going to be telling is one written by people many, many years ago, and yet one written by people, and thus inevitably one that's going to be relevant to people. I'm excited and I'm scared. In the way that one might be afraid knowing they're going to be changed by an experience. Because I know that this is going to affect me. I don't know how. And that scares me a little. But far more than that, I am excited. For years now, we've been doing this thing where we go and we explore different minds and different perspectives and different worlds. And it continues to be an endless wellspring of insight and of wisdom from the past, of novelty, shocking in our in our modern sense of everything having been done before already, you know? There's so much to uncover and explore. And, well, it's just so exciting. It's just so exciting, and I'm really thrilled. So I hope that some of that rubs off. I hope that it can be a little bit contagious, that is part of what I want to do. I want to, I've got a thesis statement for what I'm trying to do here, and I'm working on that thesis statement. I'm changing it all the time a little bit, but I want to create the kind of community that I relied on when I was growing up, which to me was sitting around watching anime and talking about it and exploring things together and recognizing that as different as we are across time and space and places and types of lives, we can look at the same things and learn from them and share about them. And I think that's really magical. So I want to foster that kind of community. I want to explore as well. I want to explore these artifacts and sort of like breathe life into them by speaking about them. They sit idle like dusty, objects, treasures in a tomb, right? Unless we watch them, unless we bring them to life by playing them, by pushing the button, and by intaking them through our eyes and letting them percolate in our minds. And I want to do that, and I want to hear them, to share them, and to unpack them, to figure out what they mean to us and what they've meant to others. And as something that I think is fundamentally human, to share our experiences, to engage in that, to engage in the accepting of a shared experience from the past and the passing of a shared experience to the future. So here I am in the midst of that, in the middle, the past stretches out before me, and tomorrow with all its questions into the future. Like all of us, a bridge. Like every man, a bridge. So, with that, and I understand that it's meandering, it always is, sorry. With that said, I think it's time to go ahead and jump into episode 1 of Ashita no Joe. I made a decision today about which version that I was going to watch, at least for this first episode, and it came down to 2 versions, one of them by Saizen, sorry, words, and one of them by Yabuki. So the Yabuki version is a 4K re-thingy that's like a really nice looking. It's like really pretty, it's really crispy, it's really pretty, and it's been decensored. So like censored audio pieces, apparently there's been like some words got censored, okay? And there's a version that they're censored in, and in this one they're not, and that's really nice. It looks really pretty. The other popular version that's available is a straight DVD rip by Saizen. I'm going to watch the Saizen version for the first episode, and the reason is because it's jittery, and it's grainy, and it's got artifacts, and it jumps, and doesn't quite, like, run smoothly, and the colors are a little off, and it feels like watching the show through a TV like that one. And I am constantly inundated with crisp, clean, pretty-looking anime, and that's fine. That's fine. But this is not that kind of a show. This is a show from 50 years ago, and I want to feel like I'm watching it 50 years ago. Or like I'm uncovering it from an ancient vault and plugging it into a dusty VCR, right? In a post-apocalyptic wasteland, diving into this strange artifact of the past. I'd like to watch it like that. And maybe I'll change that as we move forward. Maybe episode 2, we'll start watching them in crispy quality because, gosh, it'll be cool to watch it in fully, like, remastered beautifulness. Awesome. But for the first episode, from my viewing experience, I can't do that. I need to watch it in the original format. I need to watch it with all the dirt on it, with all the grain and all of the age. I need to watch it like that. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch episode 1 of the Saizen version of Ashita no Joe. And so we embark on our journey, y'all. Let me do the spiel. Here's the spiel. I make 2 versions of every reaction video. I make a timer-based version that's up on YouTube, and it'll have just the bottom portion of the video with the subtitles in it, down at the thing, and it'll have like a timer in the corner. And at the beginning of that, it'll go boop, 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 beep, and on the beep and the green light is the exact frame that I've synced up in post where I pressed play, and it's playing for me. And then I sync that up so that you can do the same thing with your copy of Joe. Choose whichever copy you want. I don't give a fuck. And you can push your own button. That way, without distributing Ashita no Joe over the YouTube and inevitably having the videos taken down for copyright infringement, even if they're fair use for talking about the thing, we can just distribute the video and you can see the reaction whenever you want, and that works great. If you really want to watch a picture-in-picture version, or you're on a mobile device and you kind of can't do that, there will be picture-in-picture versions, PiPs, which will be linked in the description down there. You can just go and watch those. I would recommend coming back after those to rejoin us for the discussion, because a huge amount of what we do here is discuss the videos afterward. And I will actively not say things during the episode in order to not interrupt the flow of the episode. Like, I'll comment and I'll react and I'll communicate and stuff, but I'll also, like, take notes and not talk about those things. Then we'll go back after the episode and talk about things that really stood out to me. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, we're going to talk about that later, and we'll end up talking about it later. So if you'd like to do the deeping diving, that's what we'll do at the end. I don't know what our sort of flow for Joe is going to be. I don't know whether we're going to end up deep in comment spotlights, where I talk through comments that people leave about the show and their own experiences with it, usually at the beginnings of episodes. I'd love to be doing that, but it would require y'all to join in and comment a bunch. So if you'd like that to be a part of this and like it to be a more communal experience, please do your part in contributing to that by telling me what you're experiencing and what you have experienced, by talking about Joe and what you think about the episodes. And I think most importantly, or pivotally, or interestingly, if you have access to insights about the world surrounding Ashita no Joe, the people creating Ashita no Joe, the zeitgeist around it, the time period, and the people working on it, interviews, memoirs, news articles, things that give us like little interesting deep cuts into the world and the ideas around it, or things like, oh, there's an interview where these characters Dazaki talked about why he needed Joe to XYZ, or why this fight couldn't be won, or like something like that. Those are gold. They're absolute gold. And if you can convey those to me through comments effectively, I will do my part, if I can, in folding those into the videos so that they remain as part of the record of this experience moving forward. Because that's part of that community that I rely on, that I think is so cool. Is like, I think it's so cool that we can go and you can find a Reddit rewatch thread for almost any show and go through and see people's comments about different aspects of different episodes and what they thought about them, and insights and inferences from the history and the time period, and people watching these shows as they aired and stuff, and things like that. So I don't know if those will happen, but I'd really like them to. Please help me make those happen. Similarly, I don't know how much time we're going to spend after each episode on Sakagaburu looking into animators and animation and stuff for Joe, but I'd really like to. I'd really like to, in order to get a little bit of a basis for the people who were working in this very different era of animation, and to see those shocking names where suddenly it's like, wait, that guy is that guy? Because that's really interesting stuff to me as well. Beyond that, thanks so much for joining me. This channel is entirely supported via Patreon. It has been from the beginning. It will be into the future. There are no ads on this or any video or any other videos. If there are, they've been put there by like a copyright holder who's claimed this video for some reason. Never by me. Never ever. Patreon only for supporting the channel. You can get early access to all of my videos. It's $1. I know that most people do like $5 or $10. I really want my channel to be really accessible and for the community to be like bigger as opposed to like deeper, if that makes sense. So it's $1 for all of the things. You can throw me a few more dollars to get your name in a shout out at the end of the videos, and that's greatly appreciated. And to those of you who do go above and beyond like that, like you pay my rent, you make my life be livable so that I can keep making content, and I really deeply appreciate it. So thanks, and I hope to keep doing this into the distant future, as we keep exploring the distant past, and as people keep making more anime. It just keeps getting cooler and cooler and cooler. This medium that we engage with is it's like nothing else, and it fascinates me to no end. So I'm so glad to have you along with me, and I'm gonna shut the fuck up now and watch this show. Episode 1 of Ashita no Joe. It's up and ready to go. There will be 2 versions, picture in picture with the video up there, linked in the description down there. Timer on YouTube. Beep beep timer to count you down. Early access on the Patreon. Beep beep timer to count you down. Let's go. Straight into the eye. Sunrise. Oh, he's running. Okay. Nikki. I love this genre of... Okay, whoa. Fire. Something will happen tomorrow. Which way is tomorrow? Okay. Dutch, single colors, flat, stark backgrounds. Actually, really like dusty backgrounds, really stark frames. Okay. We journey Tokyo Tower. Dust. The wind. Very westerny. Maybe because it's a whistle. Immediately, this whole background art style reads to me as iconic. And I think that's because of postcard memories and references and stuff. Those are the eyes of a wild animal. Yes, yeah. You looking for work, huh? Oh, the kids are kids. Yeah. Or sake. I can immediately see the stylistic, like, connect to Takarajima, which I haven't seen. He's got clear eyes, huh? Very expressive group of gremlins. Alright, we're gonna run into us, yeah? No, we're just gonna let him pass. The Wanderer. You sure about that? Very distinct with the hat. Just kids being kids. Hey. Oh shit, maybe not. Maybe not kids being kids. Might be a beatdown. Might not go the way that they beat down expect. Kill la Kill? Is the opening to Kill la Kill a reference to this? Holy shit! Uh-huh. Wow, what an immediate exercise in making a dude intriguing. I'm full in. Poria. Drink. Mm-hmm. Yeesh. I really love the sketchy dark shading. Okay, Joe. Maybe he can. I don't know. This is... The answer is no. He fast. That's quite a reaction. Oh, shit! Wait. He is the master, isn't he? Are you the trainer? Are you the trainer? You gotta be fucking kidding me. That guy? Look, I know a washed up drunk is a classic, but like, come on. Wow. Where are you going, though? No, you're a fucking weird old drunk man. Leave it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. We about to be a hero? She's got little wooden sandals on. Ah! Onihime? The demon princess? Hey, kid, what you want? He likes fighting. He's picking these fights. Looks like you don't get it, kid. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Come on, Joe! Beat him up! No, I believe! I'm just a thief. Oh, shit! Alright, now you done it. You just put your hand on him, man. He said go through the ditch. Oh man, it's so different. The entire sense of what action means is completely different. Oh, it's fantastic. And the sense of like flow. Everything's curved, everything flows. I found the one. He has some fucking anger, man. This is no Ippo. He is no Ippo. Let's say that. He's just a good guy doing good guy things, beating people up. We finally get a name. I've been calling him Joe. I don't actually know if that's his fucking name. Oh, okay. Okay. uh. Alright. Ha 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 ha. Da. Meanie. Ready. Manakata. Damn it, Joe, you're killing me. Alright, run, boy, run. What, her name is Sachi? Something like that? He's got his eye on the prize, man. We're going to the top, baby. That was cool. It's from the it's the same chord as the OP, right? Inns and pubs. Money. Those cost money, don't they? Cool lighting. Oh. Cool stalker. Hi, stalker. Come live with me in the playground. Or in the pipes. He lives in pipes? Yeah. I only got big bills. Shit. No money, no stay. Yes. Work first, sleep later. Yeah. Drifter, drifter. So here we speak to the social order. What do? Jobless? Young man, people expect you to be part of the society, but you're not? How'd you get there? I don't know. I don't know the circumstances, but you seem fucked. But there's a battlefield. He just doesn't know it yet. My guy just needs a roof. Dreams. Big dreams, huh? I don't know. Was it the Odin cart? Oh. Damn. He brought him some food. He gave his coat up to get the Odin? Whoa. Unless he put it around Joe. I think he put it around Joe. Whoa. Is he gonna stop drinking? He's beyond serious. Holy shit! Boxer doesn't drink, trainer doesn't drink. Sincerity, huh? What an interesting currency this old man deals in. Sincerity. Hey, old man. Man, this is gonna be such a fucking relationship between these two guys. You know that? You know that? I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. This old man's gonna be my dad. You know that? I don't know who the fuck he is, but he might be my grandfather. Boxing. My guy. He's really serious. Man, you gotta sell it to him a different way. Ah, shit. I wonder if are they the same gang? What? Oh, shit. That's what you mean by my guests. He's ready to fight, man. He's ready to die. There's no tomorrow for him, is there? There's just this. See, that's what you gotta sell him on. You gotta be like, man, you can fight forever. And you'll get paid. Let's go. Let's go, motherfuckers. He's out of his gourd. I love the curved speed lines. Awesome. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. That was cool. Oh, shit. Hmm. 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 A wild beast looking toward tomorrow. Oh, shit. Ah, fuck. He fucking cackles. There's a tide in the affairs of men. So what? He seems so unfazed by that. He does have a death wish. Old Puncher still got some punches. I mean, that could be fucking arranged, right? He's not gonna move. He's not gonna move. What fun storytelling. You shut the hell up. Oh, it's his dream. It's not his dream, it's his dream. Joe doesn't have a dream, not yet. Ashita wa dochi da? Karate. Whoa. If you don't get up, you'll fall back to yesterday. Get up, fight. Get up, fight. Punch, punch, says the OP. Get up, says the ED. And he's running literally into tomorrow. That's great. It's freaking great. The beginning begins, and the beginning has begun. I think that was great. I think that was great. I think that stands fully on its own. I shouldn't be surprised. After all, it had to be good enough to catch people's imaginations the first time it aired, but I don't know. I guess I had some expectation that I would have to color my expectations, you know? That I would have to take it with caveats. Like, okay, yeah, but it's going to be old. You know, it's not going to look like you expect. Sure, it doesn't look like I expect, but in that, I find great novelty, great enjoyment, and great intrigue. What comes across to me most strongly is care, is intent. In a way, how do I put it? We have a whole language that's been built up over the decades of what things mean, of what different orientations of characters and movements in and out of frame mean. And the language that's on display here is a different dialect of it. It's an older dialect, an archaic one, right? It's kind of like listening to Shakespeare or reading the Canterbury Tales, right? It's like, yeah, there are definitely some strong relations to what we have today, but it's different. I expect a particular word to be used as like the article the, right? And it's a slightly different word. It's a different word. And that's strange, but one's mind gets used to it quickly. And once you get used to it, you start to realize that there are other things too. There are things that are missing, things that we've like dispensed with or replaced, and they're different now, and they don't exist in the form that they did then. And so, in a way, there are new things in the old because we've removed things as we've gone along. I think what stands out to me immediately happens in phases as we get into it, and it starts with the OP. The first thing is still frames with moving camera. It's like the first thing that happens in the whole show, and it's also a perfect jumping off point for a huge amount of the animation techniques that we see. Animation is and always has been an art of trickery, an art of confusing the mind. And I would love to have my copy of Understanding Comics so that I could talk about the closure effect, which is the effect as you go from panel to panel in a comic book, your brain glues in between what happened in between those panels. We do the same thing in animation. Every frame has nothing moving in between it, and yet we glue together the movement of the thing. But animation is fundamentally about tricking your mind into thinking that there's continuity when there isn't. And beyond that, about drawing as little as possible, because it takes a long time to draw a thing, and then it takes a long time to draw it again, and then a long time to draw it again. So if you could just not draw it more times and move other things, that works way better, right? Because you're going to draw a thing, paint it, on a cell, and then you're going to photograph it against its background, and then you're going to do it again. And if you could just move that cell a little bit as you go and get the impression of animation, impression of movement, that's way less work. And that's really important because anime doesn't make that much money and it costs a lot of money. Every frame that moves costs way more, and every frame that exists costs a lot. Every color that's on that frame costs more, because it takes more time and more layers to draw. Every bit of it is more costly. So what do you do about that? Well, you move stuff less, and the more complicated a thing is, the less you move it. And you got to start to get really clever about how you move things in order to make the most out of the least. How do you get the most movement out of the least drawings? The answer is you slide them. You slide them around. You zoom in and out. You do all the camera tricks, right? So it's perfect that our opening shot of Joe is that entirely. One shot, one frame, one fairly detailed, fairly crispy drawing, one zoom. And it's laser focused on the intent of the scene, too. Where are we? We're in his eyes. What's the thing that's most notable about Joe in episode 1? It's his eyes, according to Dante. But I don't know. Dante, fuck. I think this is important. I mean, it just stands out. It's the first thing that stands out to me. Second thing that stands out is the choice of music, and that carries over into the episode, because the whole episode is toned with Joe's whistling song. Joe tones the song. He carries his own theme music with him as he whistles, which is really interesting, right? He's really carrying his own world, and it is characters interrupting it that serve as these action moments for the show. Fascinating. But the song that we get here is a period piece, right? It's, what's the genre actually called? I don't know, but it is a period piece. It evokes a particular time and place, and I think it evokes even, like, a mood in the way that, like, that smooth jazz evokes smoky nightclubs. I think this style of song evokes the izakaya and the casual, low, I don't know what it evokes. It's fucking interesting. But to me, it's like, it's the Japanese equivalent to the smoky nightclub, kind of. I don't know. It's curious. Okay. There's that, and then there's that, and then backgrounds and color. Stark. One color, black and white. Red, black, white. Blue, white. Stark. As fucking stark as it can be. And then there's this, like, there's an immediate use of a really strong Dutch angle here. Boom. And then as we fall, we hit, and it all rotates. So we mirror our camera to our characters. This is a cleverness thing. It to me, it's like, when you're watching it, it makes you go like, ooh, that was fun. Just a little bit under the surface, and it colors it, adds to everything. It's cool. And it puts us in our character's perspective, in his eyeline, as he watches his own gloves move around. And then, on the turning point of the song, he grabs the rope and begins to stand. Boom. And that becomes tears, becomes fire, and something will happen tomorrow. So we use these like single color tone sequences. I gotta say, I've never really understood it, because I've only seen it in stills, this style of sketchy shadows. They're really inconsistent, and they'll give way in the future to using, like, more color block shadows that we're much more familiar with. But these sketchy, simple line shadows, they make everything a little bit, like, lived in, a little bit, like, used or grimy. I don't know how to put it. It's like the difference between a can of Coke that's been crumpled up a little bit and then reformed, and one that's just, like, pristine, you know? These feel a little crumpled. It's interesting. They give a texture to everything that's strange, and doubly strange because they move constantly, right? They're individual hand strokes, they're individual pen strokes or pencil lines, so they shift from frame to frame, and that creates like texture and movement inside the characters that's odd and unreal, but adds something different. And that's a style that will be used and utilized later for particular like emotional purpose, like in moments in Kill la Kill, which I've mentioned a couple times now, where we have Ryuko's face become very, very, very stylized. It's all black and white, and those moving patterns create emotion moving over an otherwise still face. Really interesting. Here, it's the way we're doing shading, and I imagine that it's the way that we're doing shading because doing shading as like the sort of color blocks that we're doing is really limited, and like we need something else, but it's also just the style. It's the way that we do things. And it's different. It's really different. It also disappears as things get less detailed, as things move into the background. I think that's cool too. Wow, what is it about these paintery, fuzzy, bokeh-y backgrounds that sets them so far apart from the foregrounds? Really interesting. Really interesting. A very, very coherent, very particular style. And here we have Joe walk, walk, walk. I asked, is the opening to Kill la Kill a reference to Ashita no Joe? And it seems like 100% yes. Like, strong yes. I didn't know that. Guess I know that now. There's this moment where the wind, like, first really blows by him. We get these, like, visible gusts of wind. These guys right here. That are just so familiar looking that I've seen 1,000 times. Super interesting. And we dedicate a good period of screen time to these opening silent moments of our, at this point, mostly faceless, eyeless protagonist walking through the cold wind. We're just establishing who he is, what it feels like to be him, and what it feels like to be here and now. The city holds no hope for us. We're walking away from it. The landscape is ruined and dilapidated. The world is cold and harsh and doesn't seem to want him around very much. You know? We have this one flash during this scene where we see this bridge, but it's lit up, and then we're back to the cold of this morning. You know? The little kids running around are really cute. They are character designed out of another era, like completely out of another era, as they should be, of course, right? But what a thing. It's just one of those things. I have to wonder if the interpolation that we're seeing here is original or is part of the switch from this to DVD. It places everything kind of on threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. At least as far as I've seen. I'm going to be curious to see if that changes over the course of the episode. I don't know yet. So we meet our guy. And this moment, I think, is the first that does a thing that I want to talk about. I'm not sure how to talk about it exactly, but the way that things move is very curved. I'll pull the I got my mouse. This is the curve that we go on, okay? This curve. You see my mouse going? Shoop. We start here and we go this way. Like he's going to lean his head back in frame, like so. As though we've got a static camera on the character and he's moving in frame. He moves outside of the bounds of the frame, and the physics of it are a little bit fiddly, partly because the shadows shift at different times, I think. Yeah. So it feels a little fiddly, but this is the first moment that we see it. Like loops and curves that don't just go diagonally across or on our plane, but go into the camera. Into the camera and out of the camera. Toward us and away from us. I think that's like defining throughout all the movement that we see. At least all the swoopy, the like fast movement. There are a couple of moments where it's like starkly flat and we 2Dify everything, like the punch goes across the screen directly, it's all flat, 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 flat. But when characters are in frame and it's human movement, it's fluid and it's in circles, in loops. Really interesting. And there's this moment here as he moves up close where we exhibit something else, which is that, the background doesn't shift as he does this. So this is what I mean by, like, the language is different. Does he come down from here and go like this up to the camera? Or does the camera zoom up to him and to his eye as he looks in? The fact that the background doesn't move indicates that the camera doesn't move either. But the framing is such that the camera moves and zooms up. So the whole thing becomes like this is a moment that I think is broken. I think this is filmically, I think this is wrong. It doesn't mean that it's wrong in the context of Ashita no Joe or anything like that. Nobody makes rules. There aren't rules. It doesn't exist. But in the way that, like, if you break the 180-degree rule during a conversation in film, that's going to have a particular effect on the experience of your viewer. I think this scene, this moment of animation has a particular effect on the viewer. And it's to go, huh? It's just like in the back of my mind, it's like a couple percent of like, that wasn't quite right. And that's fine, but it's interesting too. It's like we take a portion of reality and dispense with it in order to convey. That's what the trade-off that I'm reading here is like, well, we'd like to have him take this sip, and then we'd like to have this character-filled moment where we get really close up to his eye and look into the thing before he smashes the bottle, right? Because that's the moment that we want to evoke. And how do we get there? We glue it together the best we can. And it ends up being like 2% jank. And that's okay. That's within the bounds of what we're willing to do in the show because it conveys best. Okay. I think that's a really, like, important part of our ground rules for how the show is going to express stuff. Realism? Conveyance. Critical. Okay, good. Good to know. Someone bring me a drink. And he whistles his way down the street. Okay, we run into a bunch of kids. The kids are wild-looking little monsters. Like, holy shit, there's a pig boy, and that's strange. But that's fine. They're just a gaggle of goobers. Who the hell does he think he is? Now, he cuts an interesting figure, right? Like, he stands tall, and we see moments later that he's got some crispness in his eyes, right? Like that he is not just another bum. And we've juxtaposed him so directly with such a bum, such an alcoholic drunk, that he stands out even more. Who is this guy? He's so interesting. And he's got senses, right? He senses things around him. It's when he senses things around him. We get his eye line, and then we get, for the first time, his face, right? With the exception of the OP. This is the first time we see Joe's face. Might be the most important drawing of the show in a certain way, right? What do you read in his expression? It's really interesting. I think it's so interesting because it's loaded. It's loaded. There's a little bit of a smile to it, but there's sadness there too. There's a brightness to his eyes and a clarity to his features. He's handsome. He's young. The swoop of his hair sort of carries him forward, you know? It pushes him forward a little bit. But it also covers up over his eyes, and his eyes feel a little sad. It's almost a beatific slight smile, like you'd see on angels in statues or in paintings, right? Where it's just like the softest features. No muscular engagement to make the smile happen, right? But no locked inness either, no rigidity, no solidity. And so there's a powerful youthfulness, cherubic almost, to his features as well. And yet, I have this impression that he's watched mass murders, right? Like there's deep sadness in him. Like he's seen too much, far too much, and carries it with him. All of this just in a face. but I think it's a really carefully designed face. It's so interesting looking back at anime, at icons, because these are icons. They're like emojis, right? Faces are like emojis. These drawn faces, they're so far removed from actual representations of what a real face looks like. They're icons. It's so interesting looking at different eras of icons and how they've like developed, right? Like there's a whole era of like 90s, 2000s, early 2000s with the way too big eyes on the girls and like little pointy chins and stuff. And it's like a whole set of iconography for what things look like and how expressions work. And I think from a modernist perspective, we can look back and the anime of the 50s, 60s, 70s, they look so simple to the point of being dumb and cartoony and lacking something. But I look at this depiction of Joe and it's like so careful. And I wonder how many iterations of just drawing what this guy looks like at standing had to be gone through to get the balance right, to get that feeling of who is that quite right, of pleasant and sad, of curious, of like intimidating in his unshakableness, and like beatific and kind of like generous toward the children, perhaps to an extent, but having a threshold, having a line that he won't stand for, you know? Like how do we wrap all that up in these couple of faces? I don't know, but we sure as heck do. And there's that smile. The hair swoops. Swoop. And bounces. Boing, boing, boing. Alright, everybody. We're gonna fuck him up. So, our first action moment. Pa-ching! Speed lines. Guess what? There are speed lines. They exist. I love them. And, whoa. Okay. We have an answer. We're on 2s with backgrounds moving on interspersed 2s. And sometimes on 1s. So, the language of everything is on 2s and only things that you want to be really spicy go on 1s doesn't exist. But this is on 1s. He stops it. It crumples, like squashes, and then wham! And our camera moves just at the end and then follows just a little bit. Boom, bam. Clang, 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 clang. Spurt, spurt. Bam, bam, bam. Go, 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 go. Let's fight. No, let's not. We kick out our guy. Our first meeting of these characters is antagonistic. Hell no. Joe, who does not suffer fools, and looks down on the bum. Don't touch me. Especially alcoholics. I wonder if there's something like particular about alcohol for Joe. I don't know. But he's fast, he's capable, and we demonstrate that by having him like almost DBZ teleport, you know? If you're gonna beg, do it sober. And suddenly he's incensed, he's seen the light, he's seen tomorrow. And that's the piece that was such a wrinkle and that's so curious. It's not Joe's dream. As far as we can tell, Joe would rather be dead. Joe doesn't seem to have a dream. Joe doesn't seem to care. This guy, he lost his dream. Not a good boxer. Back in the day. But good enough. And he's just like crazy. You've got a pretty good punch. He's like incensed. Like a guy. He's seen the second coming, right? You could do it. Give boxing a try. Team up with me and try boxing. This is really fun. I love it. I'm going to just mention something fun about psychology that I think is fun. I think it's really fun. I think it's straightforward. And I think it's just like a cool example, and this is going to be something that I end up doing all the time, is having weird tangents about stuff. So, you really, 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 really want somebody to do something with you or do something for you or whatever it is, right? Like, you want to convince somebody that X course of action is a great course of action, and you know it will be good for them too. But gosh, it is so hard because as soon as you try to convince somebody of something like that, their hackles go up, their defenses go up, and it's like, how dare you tell me how to live my life, right? So how the fuck do you incept an idea like this, like, hey, maybe boxing would be a great path for you, into somebody's mind? It's really simple. It's really simple. Demonstrate for them how it gets them to what they want. Critically important is that this requires some study and some care and some, like, empathy and some insight from you to understand what it is that they actually want. But once you figure that out, if you're actually pretty certain of it, if you can figure out a way that the thing that you want leads them to the thing that they actually want, you can just present that to them and they'll do it. Like, for sure. But what does Joe want? Uncertain. What do I mean? I mean, throughout this, our trainer goes like, hey, young man, come, this will be so great for you. You're going to make all the money in the world and you'll have a roof and stuff and have a big car and a big house and stuff. It'll be great. Or it'll be like, I care so much, it's really important to me that you do boxing, which is the more common one that we get in, like, in our own interactions with people. Like, how often do you have people tell you, like, that they really want or see people do this to their children or whatnot? It's like, it would be really great if you could lend me some money, right? For me, right? But if you spin it completely differently, it's like, actually, you need to make money and I'm going to give you an opportunity to make some money. Totally different conversation. You want to achieve things in the world and have purpose. Let me show you a way that works. Now we're talking, right? But if you're just like, you will fulfill my purpose if you go box for me, non-starter, never gonna work. Similarly, okay, you walk into your boss's office and you go, I would really appreciate a raise. That's not gonna work very well, is it? Because the boss is like, oh, no shit, you'd appreciate a raise, so would everybody else. But if you go in and you go, I'm really valuable to this company, and I'm not going to be as valuable to this company if I leave because I'm not making enough money to, like, to pay for all my stuff. So it would really benefit you if you gave me enough money to make it worth my while, or even less antagonistically, like, demonstrate to them all the power of the things that you could be doing for them if you were making more money or in a bigger position or whatever. If you can spin that as, like, it's what they want, it will increase their profit margins, increase things for them, make them happier, get them the degree that they want, help their kid get into college, whatever the fuck it is, improve their golf swing, then you're actually in a starting place. So that's not what we do here, right? Our trainer is kind of self-centered. He's imposing his dream onto this kid because this kid has exhibited this talent. So he sees the talent and he goes, you'd be perfect for my dreams. Please come along with me. It means everything to me. And Joe goes, I don't know you, man. Fuck that. None of this means anything to me. I don't care. If you had figured out that Joe really likes fighting and you could tell him, hey man, you could fight, that's a different sort of situation, right? Or if it's like, you could be somebody. But we don't know what Joe wants, and we don't end up really learning in the episode, which is tragic, but that's the story that we're telling. And I think it's important because I think it helps us project onto him much more if he's more of a blank slate like this, and it raises the curiosity, like, who is he really? Where is he coming from? And what does he want? At some point over this, it's going to become aligned with boxing in a powerful way. But how? I don't know. So there's my psychology aside. If you want to convince somebody of something, convince them that it's what they want and that it will help them get what they want, right? And don't fuck around with the, like, trying to convince them that they're helping you is going to be good. It's not going to work. Just convince them that they're helping themselves. That's it. It's like, convince them that they're helping themselves. You want your, like, somebody to lend you their car, convince them that it'll be more convenient for them and that they won't have to do some annoying grocery shopping, that you'll pick up their dry cleaning or whatever, and then they'll probably lend you their car. But if you're just like, it would really help me out if you did this, they're gonna be like, no, why would I don't care. So we run into another interruption. The first one was the kids, the second one is related to the kids, and it's the little girl. This says more about our society than before. Well, the first thing that we learn about our society is a bunch of kids running around alone, right? And I mean, that's how it was for my parents' generation, was a lot of latchkey, you know? But it says something in this pretty dirty city that this squad of little children is running around alone. And they're stealing for food. So not only are they running around alone, they're running around alone unsupervised and probably don't have their needs met because they're probably orphans or otherwise, right? Like, and that says something about the fundament of our society. How are kids treated? How is our future? Future's not great. They're being dragged around by mobsters who actually run everything and have all the power here. Bingo, bango, bongo. You want our world expressed to us? There's our world expressed to us. So, here's little man running into the mobsters. He'd love to get into a fight. So this is where we start to really understand Joe. At least a little bit. He is disdainful. He's got contempt toward people who hurt others, who pick on others. He's got contempt toward people who've given up, like the bums. And he wants to fight about it. I don't know how coherent or cogent his moral philosophy is, whether there's a might makes right backing him up, or what. We don't get to know, and we don't need to. He's out here, and in a sense, he's fighting the fights that we want fought, right? And we transition to being the kids, right? We're watching him, we're curious about him, and we care in just the most cursory way about the little girl, because she's a little kid. Does Joe? It's unclear. He takes action against the bad guys, but is it because he wants to save the good the kid? It's unclear. In a kind of like a Bruce Willis character or Korean revenge thriller character sort of way, it's like unclear who this faceless man really is and what he really wants. Like, he does things that shake out to be morally good, but it's unclear if he does them for morally good reasons, right? Or if it's just because that fucking gangster has a punchable face and got in his way. It's left for us to find out, and that creates like a fluid and a questionable morality in the same way that like a Han Solo shooting first kind of a character kind of does. It's curious. It's like, okay, but who are you and what are you fighting for? What's worthwhile? I think the intent is to answer us with nobody and nothing. Again, who is he? He's Joe because he's anyone, right? Obviously, he's not anyone. He's special, but... And... like... I don't know. Is he fighting for good or is he fighting just to fight? I don't know. Who's gonna get hurt? I love Onihime Group. It's great. It's just Oden. Yeah. I think it's worth mentioning this as well. So, I don't know, I should have mentioned this at the very beginning, especially since I brought up censorship. It'll be curious, because I don't know what weird things are not allowed to be shown on screen. But some things, just by, like, sensibilities, aren't going to be shown on screen. Like beating children. However, beating children is going to be a pivotal plot point in episode 1. This child gets hit by adults, like, a couple solid times. We look at her little face, and then we cut away. Right? We cut away and we have the smack. Achoo! And she screams, right? That's some legit fucked up corporal punishment and presents our world here this way. Get it now, boy? We gotta pass through. And fuck you. And that leads to Joe's attack, right? He immediately attacks. So this like justifies violence against these characters in our minds, I think, pretty solidly, right? I think that's a necessary part of the math formula of creating bad guys. It's like they have to do something that makes them cross the event horizon where we can't forgive them in the moment, and then our character can rightfully and justly jump in and fight. But it's really unclear whether Joe would have fought them anyway. He might have. He fully might have. I think that's interesting. And this moment ends up being one of our first sort of really action-y sequences as well. Wham! And it's all curved, right? It's a big round punch that comes out through the side of the frame, right? Through the side of the frame and in around toward us. And so does his jaw. And toward us. It's always looping, always looping. So then we jump into a fast-paced action scene, and this sets up the flow of these action scenes, which may change once we get into boxing rings, but for a street fight, this is what it looks like. We're on a character, flat face, in the moment, looking around. We jump to wherever they're looking, which is the next guy who's attacking. He runs up. We have some flow, bam, smash. And we're doing a lot of like movement into movement creates more movement, right? Like billiard ball into billiard ball, smash, bang, explode. As sort of a flow of things. Kabam, kabam. And a lot of single frame, jumped over, back, jumped over, back, jumped over, back. This is what running looks like. I'm running, right? It's kind of silly, but like this is the language. This is the lingua franca of what anime looks like. Running, smash back the other way, bam, boom. And again, there are some curves here, but it's a little bit more jumpy and jolty. And there's no holding after a moment. There's no follow through. And I think this is really lacking. It's a piece of the language that's lacking. Like, I punch and then we cut away versus I punch and we hold. Okay? Right? Or I punch and we hold on the guy getting hit. Ah! And then we cut away. Huge difference. Bam, and we're away. Bam, and we're away. Bam, bam, and we're away. And we're gone away from it. Huge difference. But it keeps up this pace of like, the next thing, always the next thing, never a moment to rest. So I think I think it's cool. And then we're diving in and zooming in on the eyes. Foom, foop, foop. Shoop, shoops. There are those curves into space. That's really fun. And I think what I would say is, I said like maximize motion, minimum frames, right? Maximize motion in each scene and maximize expressiveness. We want your mind to go, that's my fist and I could do that when Joe swings, right? And I think it does a good job. This is nuanced. This moment he holds the fist up for a second so we can register it, and then they go wham wham, and then we cut to something else. I do wish there was more space for these individual scenes to breathe, but as is, it becomes pretty chaotic, like bam 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 bam. That produces an effective action for me. He's a genius. He's brilliant. Shoop, swoop. But he's also fucking vicious, right? And I think this is where it really stands out. Wham! Yeah. Like, I think that's a really standout cut. Because we go from all the way back here, we do multiple expressions. We're not doing the, like, low frames of animation sort of thing for this particular sequence. This is a big sweep, charges all the way back, and then into another one. And then we do a bunch of big poggers, big spinning poggers, and a big running, bam! And again, we're sort of like swooping in through space in interesting ways. And then again, boom, boom. I think it might be the standout, like the real standout cut here, as we put the wall on the side of the frame and we have our character like bash across it. I think this gets into that zone of like, wow, what a clever vision. Here's the scene. We can choose any angle from it. What a mind it takes to choose this interesting angle. I think that characterizes Dazaki for me. Yeah? Just a little bit. Outside of like postcard memories and things that people think of as pivotally Dazaki, this characterizes Dazaki as like, where's his eye? Where's his sensibility? What does he think is compelling? What does he think tugs at our heartstrings? It's like, oh, the kids, right? Violence against children, bad. Simple, okay? The tensions in scenes, like the flow, the timing, the pace, all of it is this is his directorial debut. So this is his language. This is his accent, his dialect, and we're getting to know it, and pieces like this are like creative turns of phrase from an author that exemplify the way that their mind works. And that really exemplifies the way that his mind works. Okay, we get this cool shift in color and tone as we dive into a character's mind. This is a piece of language, right? As he's watching him put this beat down, and we sort of turn it into a slow-mo beat down, right? As he's shoo, really expressive with these cool like after image lines popping after everything. I think this is really neat. Those eyes. I've found it. We wore it back into reality, and Joe is panting. That was so cool, mister. That was cool. Here, take your bag back. Get a little smile. I'm Joe, Yabuki Joe. Not really worth mentioning, but that's it. And then he makes fun of the little girl. Don't pee yourself, right? And make a frenemy forever. If you apologize so much, are you still in diapers? Silly. Just silly. Joe Yabuki. I've been searching for him all this time. Okay. That might as well be our whole setup, right? Wow. Amazing how much character is in such little anime. Even the cheapest inns are... Well, they might as well be infinite, endless. I think that the care in the lighting of this sequence stands out dramatically to me. Specifically on Joe's face. Like, we lose it once we're on him, but on Joe's face with the spot of highlighting and the key on the nose, it's like, it's perfect. What a mood, what a tone. Nowhere will take him. No money, no stay. It's a hard life out here, yeah? Yeah. So he's been following him, and he's already, like, whether you like it or not, you're already under his wing. He's already protecting you. You're already a part of him, right? And part of that is because he wants to live vicariously through you. And so it's twisted. It's like, it's broken. It's weird. I'll train you properly. This thing that you should want, but he doesn't want it. It's not what he wants. Not yet. You'll have a fancy car and a house. Even you would be happy with that, right, Joe? We don't get a response. And I think that indicates that the answer is no. I think that this is very, very relatable to me. The things that drive people do not drive all people. Not everyone is pulled by the same things. Wants are not universal. Desires are not universal. And I think it harkens back to that conversation about, like, how do you convince somebody to want the same things as you? Which is a huge part of just interacting with people, right? Like, I want to convince people that watching anime with a critical eye and caring about it will benefit them, right? Will like lighten their lives and bring color into their world. I'd love to convince them of that. I'd also really love to convince them that throwing me $1 on Patreon will like lead to the production of more content that they're going to really enjoy, that might fill the gaps in their lives and might help them on that path of like exploring content and stuff, and might produce some community and stuff for them. But if I were to be like, hey guys, I really need you to give me money. I really need it, because I don't know, I'm not going to survive otherwise. And so it's like, I really need it. And my only, like, expression of that to you was how much I needed it. It would not be a good way of going about that, right? But there's something else here, too. Like, it's universal when you're trying to communicate. To bridge the gap in worldview, you gotta share something. You gotta figure it out. But, like, I am not very much compelled by the idea of wealth. It doesn't do much for me. Freedom from fear and suffering, like, insofar as wealth can insulate you from, like, medical debt and the ability of somebody to just bulldoze your house and all sorts of shit, and the fact that you'll just be homeless, right? Like, yeah, awesome. Really great things. very important to me. But, like, wealth as a thing to strive toward, like, I'd really love to be rich, have a big house and an expensive car and nice stuff and plush leather, and I couldn't give a shit, man. I get so much joy out of finding a nice piece of clothing at a thrift store that I'm gonna be able to wear for the rest of my life. Like, I get my joy out of that. I get so much joy out of being able to watch a piece of anime every day or two. Oh, endless joy. Like, wonderful. I don't fucking care about the rich thing. So if somebody comes up to me and is like, "Hey man, I'm gonna turn you into a rich guy. All you gotta do is work with me," it's a non-starter for me. It's never gonna get me to go do that thing unless that thing is otherwise inherently something that I care about. It's never gonna be an inspiring point for me. And I don't think it is for Joe either. I think Joe is being presented as representative of a population, of a portion of society that doesn't care about the carrots that society dangles in front of them. Right? Apartment, job, wife, kids, picket fence, dog, whatever the norm is, there are always going to be people who are not dramatically compelled by the norm, right? Who would rather live in a van down by the river, or be a drunk bum, honestly, or, live as a hiker going and exploring different wildernesses, or whatever is their calling. There are going to be people who are different. There are going to be people like Joe who seemingly are built to fight and seemingly want nothing else. I'm overstepping by speaking this because I don't know what Joe actually thinks or wants, but he doesn't seem to care at all about these things. Fancy car, big house with a pool, or not sleeping on the streets. It's unclear whether that's coming from a place of just having given up, of hopelessness, or it simply doesn't resonate with him. I don't know, but as someone for whom the normative path has never really appealed to me, I feel Joe here. I resonate with this wandering man who wonders what tomorrow might bring, and which way leads to tomorrow. That's interesting. That's kind of universal, huh? And at the same time, I resonate with this trainer who sees, in his wisdom and his age, he sees a path forward. He wants to convince this young man of it, but he can't because he doesn't have the words. He doesn't know how. He can only sacrifice and throw himself at him and try to prove how sincere he is. That's what he says later, too, that my sincerity will get through to him. And my little puppy, I just had a little poodle puppy walk up and be like, "What are you doing?" Door's supposed to be closed, but I guess it's not. He can only try to demonstrate through his sincerity, try to push for it. It's reminiscent of a hopeless romantic pursuing their love interest almost, right? And without any demonstration of their value to the other person, it's like, "Please, I love you so much, don't you understand?" That's a good example of the kind of thing. It's like, you have to go out with me because I love you so much. It's like, okay, and oh man, if you've ever been on the other side of that, that's how it feels. It's like, that has no relevance to my point of view in reality. And so it has no relevance to Joe. It doesn't land. You might do nice things for him, give him your jacket, a little bit of food, but it doesn't land. He really is crazy about boxing, though. He really is. I love the yellow. I love the vibrancy of the colors of this show so far. It really stands out to me as something cool about the show. So, he returns. Give back your dirty old coat. But also, don't fucking talk to me. I'm not gonna do it. He says, "Please, please, please. I've given up alcohol. I quit completely. I care about your punch. I'm ready to put everything on the line for you, but it's the same thing. Tange dampe. A boxer who isn't very strong. You want to revive that dream? You want to live through me?" I love the shadow, these sketchy shadows in between the characters that delve into the darkness of the bottom of the screen. I think it's really cool. They're my guests, here to fight me. Joe practically wants to die. You start focused on his eyes. He smiles with a grin. He throws himself into the fray. And it's... This is cool. A chaos of skin, teeth, and blood. In our moments of violence, we go expressive. Cool. Speed lines like crazy. And really cool fight storytelling. Right? Like up on an object in the realm, sliding down it in a chaotic moment. It reminds me of like the fight in The Princess Bride, the big sword fight. It's like we're gonna engage with our environment and we're gonna do all these things because it's cool. Because that's what we want out of a sword fight on screen, and that's what we want out of a boxing match on screen. We want characters screaming and running at each other and getting battered down slides and stuff. It's cool. It's cool. And we get to see it in a little bit through Dompe's eyes. It's a dream. Go, Joe, go. And now we're kind of rooting for him too. Go, Joe, go. Get this really cool running moment where the world curves and curves and curves and curves. Interesting. Strange, unique. And then all of this fluid shoo, against stark black backgrounds too. A focus on the wides and then onto the eyes. We're in here with our characters. We're in their eye line, and then we're out of it, and we're caught in the chaos, and we're lost, and then we're in Dompe's eyes, watching and observing. And it all flows together. Shoo. That's it. Right, left. Not even noticing, just punching guys as he goes. Awesome. Don't you get it? He's not meant to be like you. So that's sort of what we present here, is like there's a future for him. He could be one of us, one of these gang members. Don't you dare, you scum. He's meant for more. The eyes of a wild beast looking toward tomorrow. Now it's time to kill him. There's a tide in the affairs of men. Don't you see that the tide is turning? You could be killed. And they say, we're going to. And Joe says, good. Basically. That's as it should be. A real death wish, huh? So in the most strange... most bondy of bonding our characters together moment, Dompe knocks him out and covers him with his own body. You shut the fuck up, kid. I've chosen. I'll never let you go. You're my tomorrow. So who is Joe and what does he fight for? Joe's the hope for the future. Joe's the spark of the youth. Joe's the potential. Joe's the next generation on the cusp of becoming the generation, the core generation. And Joe is the one who carries our hope. Right? Dompe is the hopes of the previous generation beaten down and turned into a laughingstock. But his hope lives on. He's found it in this young man. He's found it in Joe. So Joe is the bearer of the hope for the future. He is tomorrow's Joe. I'm never going to let you go. I'm not going to let you become a gangster like them. I'm not going to let you go. Okay, Dompe. You're as committed as can be. Joe certainly isn't. But he will be. He will be after this. It might take more than this. But what a demonstration of intent, huh? I think this episode was great. I think for a character introduction, it was strong. I think for a world introduction and an introduction to the style and flow of this anime, I think it was excellent. I like the way it feels. I like the way it looks. I like the way it sounds. It is obviously a product of its time, and I do not think that that detracts from it. I am overall impressed, and I think I would be impressed if this came from almost any decade, knowing that it is a directorial debut. It's got heart. You got heart, kid. More than anything, it's got the kind of heart that a show about boxing really does need. And it's expressed a battle that's like the fundamental battle. The fight for existence and life itself, in a way, for meaning and purpose themselves. This is a world that seems to be without it, that seems lost, violent, and hopeless. So why continue on? Why not just be killed by Yakuza? What is there worth fighting for? Hope. A hope for tomorrow. We're introduced to a whole bunch of different age groups and different generations in this episode, and I think that's intentional. The old man, forgotten and pushed to the side. The young man, without a place. The children, undecided, but outcast. Their future in real turmoil. And those in power, those currently in power. We're only introduced to those who have power through ill-gotten means. All of them seem stuck in this world. Seem hopeless. Seem stagnant. And there's a real question of why keep going. What for? For what purpose? Maybe because it brings about hope itself. Maybe because fighting for tomorrow makes today worthwhile. I don't know. It's just a theory, just a guess. But there's real heart going on here in this show. Here in what are the roots of anime, I'm seeing that we've got the roots of a real, fundamentally human struggle for the purpose of existence. For the question of why continue to be. What for? Why fight when the world keeps knocking you down? Why wipe the blood off and stand back up if you're just going to be punched and beaten again? I don't know. Maybe the show will help us find out. We'll hunt the answers together. Thank you for joining me for this first episode of Ashita no Joe. I hope to see you next week for the next installment of Throwback Thursday and episode 2 of Ashita no Joe. If you'd like to get early access to that and all the other content on my channel, you can find that on the Patreon linked in the description. Thank you so much. For those of you who already support the Patreon, and to any of you who are considering it, you'll see their names pop up in a minute. Thank you so much for joining me for this and for your interest in this strange medium. Much love. Peace.